It's great to be back in Chicago. It's a fantastic city, and man, what an incredible race course. We've had a couple of great days out on the water. Yesterday we had the whole fleet out, and yeah, if we get some wind here, it will be an awesome spectacle for all the fans, and I think people in Chicago are in for one hell of a show. It's actually quite an exciting time for the entire, well, all of the teams, but especially obviously our squad because it's a home event. And that's just to see all the energy and all the people that are actually getting involved with and starting to discover the sport. You know, we've had a lot of kids come through our tech base, and they are just absolutely fascinated with the boat and the sport. And that's a great sign, because something we're really focusing on in the US is to build the sport of sailing, and especially this new generation of foiling. And just to see kids from a bunch of different backgrounds come in, and you can see they're fully engaged in it. So yeah, it's an exciting time, and for us that's a great thing to be a part of. You need to string together consistent, clean races. And, you know, we had a couple of good results in Bermuda in terms of a couple of good scores in the races, but we had a couple of bad ones. And in this fleet, if you just make a couple of key mistakes, you'll get absolutely punished. And look, that's the way it is in any high-level sport when you're going against the best in the world. So, yeah, our goal is to really take each race as it comes. We have to be able to put together a clean race. We're not going to get too far ahead of ourselves. We really need to just focus on each race as it comes, learn the lessons, and then get on with the next one. But clearly, you know, that's the goal. I'm sure it's the goal for every other team. But we're going to use the hometown support. We're going to use all the messages and the energy that's coming our way, and yeah, get out there and take it as it comes.
It's tough to keep making improvements in this sort of boat. The technology doesn't change, so there's not too much to learn there. But for sure, we're studying all the other teams all the time. Everyone sort of thinks that we might not be doing that because we've had some good results lately, but I've probably watched about 15 hours of footage of Ben's team after Bermuda and their communication and how they do things differently. They do some things better than us, and we do some things better than them, and we're trying to take the good things from their teams and then adapt them to our skill set. So we're always trying to improve. I was watching footage this morning of Bermuda and a couple of things that I could clean up in the start area. So there's never the endless pursuit to get better. It's always there, and we feel that for sure. We have a bit more of a target on our back now, but I think, as all the skippers here know, on the racetrack you really have to worry about yourself. You look above and below you on a start line, and you might have Jimmy Spithill, who's one of the most aggressive sailors in the world, above you, and then you've got Ben Ainsley looking to get a hook on you, Peter Burling, Phil Robertson, everyone here. You look around and there's no one easy to beat on the start line. So I think if people start focusing on us, it might get a bit tough for them, because it leaves them vulnerable too. So I might be saying that wishful thinking and trying to get everyone to stay away from us, but it's a real factor here that you can't just focus on one boat. There's 9 amazing teams out there, and if you focus on one, you might finish 8th out of 9. So I don't think that's going to be too much of a factor, but you never know. People can try to stop us from making that final race and get some points on us in the overall if they wanted to try.
I think in this circuit, we've heard how much competition there is. Any time you're in, you can, get a top 3 result. Looking at the overall season, it's a good finish. Of course, you get in the final race, you want to try and win it. We made a mess of the start, and against the quality of the teams we're up against, you can't give them that amount of a head start. It's going to be very, very tough. And, as Phil said, they were pushing hard for the win as well. It gave us a bit of an opportunity to come back through. So, yeah, second was, in the overall scheme of things, second was okay. Learn a lot from all of the teams, of course, and having the Oracle data makes a huge difference to be able to analyse that. And we work a lot with our coaches and our sailors to make sure we're trying to pick up the little nuances of how people are sailing these boats. Trying to find that perfection. There's always going to be gains out there, and people are pushing hard to try and find those gains. So I think for everybody in the league, it's been a fascinating experience to be able to access that data, and we're all getting so much better as sailors and as teams for that, which is collectively a great place to be. We're quite happy with how we're sailing. We know that we certainly, looking at last season, we made a few too many unforced errors, which cost us big time, and it's about trying to iron those out. But the Aussies, the
results do the talking, but at the same time, when you hear teams talking about how good they are or how good they think they are, that's a huge motivator to try and beat that and take that down. So I think it's quite a dangerous line to tread. Looking at our season last season, we had too many unforced issues and too many incidents, too many collisions, and the points penalty for that is so much higher this season that it can literally undo the whole season in one instant. Already yesterday in some practice racing, we had a really close incident with the French team. So it's going to happen. I think all of the sailors, all of the teams have got their collision radars up and trying to do everything we can to avoid that. But on a tight race course like this, it gets tougher still. So we've got to really, have our wits about us to make sure we can push hard, but not too hard.
One of the unique things about this league is that we can go back and review exactly what each team's done. Everyone's got their, I suppose, strategies that they like to use, and well, speaking for us as a team, we're really just working on our own program and making sure we're trying to come up with strategies that will work for us and get us consistency. And I think looking across the fleet, like, no one's really been able to be super consistent yet. So the first boat that cracks that will be, in pretty good shape. It's incredibly exciting to actually be this close to the city, and I think for our team, we love the tighter racing. I love being in kind of with such an amazing backdrop, especially days like today where it's blowing cross shore, so it should be a little bit more steady. Yesterday was obviously pretty interesting just with how puffy and tricky it was in that first day of practice, but yeah, it's just going to be great. We're looking forward to the weekend, hoping heaps of people from Chicago can come on and cheer the event on. We're just looking forward to getting racing.
Tom mentioned the race course here in Chicago. It's on Lake Michigan. It's been compared to a street racing circuit. You think that fits your style of racing?
Yeah, I don't mind a little dogfight. It's definitely. I'm a scrapper, so when it's conditions like this and it's a bit wild in front of a city, it gets my blood going. So I don't mind it, and a city like Chicago is one of the coolest places you can sail. To have the boats out there in front of this skyline is such an incredible thing to be a part of. So we're stoked being here. We love racing here.